We are in Castro, in Puglia. We came here hunting for Messapian walls. Castro lies on a rocky promontory, and apparently a part of the original Messapic walls are still visible. We just walked for a while, and here we find something. You see, we have the construction which I believe to be medieval, classic. But at the base, we have these blocks, quite big. The one on top will be about 2 meters long, or maybe a little bit more. And anyway, the blocks are quite big. Now we'll look a little bit around if we find something else. A panoramic view that we have from the top of Castro. And here there's a castle, I guess medieval, a nice square, but we have not yet found the primary part of Messapic walls, which we now will be looking for. At the base of this tall medieval Aragonese wall, we have just a few blocks of stone, which I believe to be Messapic. So the Spaniards have constructed, as often happens, on top of the old walls. And here we are in another corner of the high city, and here we can see, finally, the Messapic blocks of stone. They are really big. For example, this one, which is still intact, is certainly 1.80 meters by 60 centimeters depth and 50 centimeters height, something like this. We are well over 1 ton. These are all being taken out, but we can see some that are still part of the wall. And walking this way, we can see a whole series of structures above, other walls. I try to find a panoramic viewpoint. Let's say that these Messapic walls are not really taken into high consideration. Here we have other parts. Strangely shaped, strange directions. It's not obvious what this structure must have been. There we see a whole series of blocks at various levels. It seems to have been a very thick wall. It would be 10 meters thick, but I don't believe that's the case. So I'm not really sure, but we will see if from above we can have a general panoramic view of this part of the construction. There seem to be some digs going on, but right now there's nobody here. There are certainly 35 degrees Celsius at the moment. We are in mid-July. It's really hot. And really big blocks of stone. This one is definitely a nice block. Here more blocks. I try to go on top. It looks a little bit like passageways. Maybe they were just the town. There is one slightly polygonal there. The one making a bend there. Here you can see the dimensions of this block. They are generally quite big. I recall that the Messapians officially lived in these regions and built these walls. around the 3rd, 4th or 5th century BC. I'm not really sure because every site has its own dating. Here we see more blocks spread about, probably found around. And here we have another part. It almost looks like a stairway. It must have been a very imposing wall. They fit very well with each other, even if it's a square type of wall, but you can see that they really fit very well one with the other. They almost look like fused one to the other, even if you can still recognize the individual blocks. Another view of this small part of the walls. On top is the Aragonese wall. And here we have a whole series of blocks spread about. Okay, here we are on top of the place we were before. We are on a walkway which allows us to see the whole site from above. I guess a height of about still 4 meters, if not a little bit more, in the highest parts. You see, everything has been done with these big blocks of stone. There is a round hole there, not easy to understand what it must have been, maybe a well, dug into the wall. You make the whole effort of carrying up the blocks of stone and then you dig them out. Anyway, what they write here on a plate is that this was the temple of Minerva, of which it is being talked in the Aeneid. Apparently also a statue of Athena was found here, which is today in the Museum of Castro. And from here we have a spectacular view on the Adriatic Sea.
Da Castro.
Another view from the top of the walls that we saw from below before, at the base of this medieval buttress.